Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Mila Braika. I'm looking at the section Samech of the acrostic structure of Psalm 37. And what we have here is the portion we're going to be looking at is 37 verses 27 and 28a. At this point, the versification that took place a few centuries ago went into didn't follow the acrostic structure of the original psalm. So we're still following the acrostic structure. So we're using the old ancient system of when the psalm was written for splitting up the sections that we're studying. And in this case, it's only halfway through verse 28 that we stop and swap over. 28b is going to be starting with the ayin. So there's a reason for that. We'll get into that probably when we look at the ayin. But we're starting here with Samech. Samech is a very interesting consonant. We've already seen it used in its root meaning in the psalm a couple of times. Now this time around it's going to be used in a verb, sur, okay, to turn, okay, sur. And that's the reflexive style of the verb. That's the one you'll find in the dictionaries and lexicons, but also it's often used with just Samech resh, sar, again, and sar, to turn. So can be used in a very simple way. It can be used also a very dramatic way, and sometimes just simply physically walking along and turning left or right or something, but sometimes also more dramatic fashion. And we'll also see very much in a moral or spiritual sense, obedience to God, things that's where sar also is used a lot. So that's used about 300 times in the Bible. So let's get on with the study. So sur, the previous verse ends here with suluk sof pasuk, nice ending. We won't find that at the end here, but we'll find that at the ending here. So suluk sof pasuk, sur, turn. Okay? And as I said in the introduction, sometimes just simply you're going down a pathway and you turn in. And when Boaz was sitting at City Gate and he saw Almoni Faloni coming down the way, probably leaving town, he said, Sar, okay, he Sar, turn in here and sit down. He turned in, okay, so Sarah, okay, and then Sar, he turned in. Used twice there. I think it's the only time it's used in the book of Ruth, so Sar, turn in here. When Moses was walking out in the desert, went past Mount Horeb and he saw a burning bush, and oh, that's kind of interesting. So he goes, Esar, I'm going to turn in to see what is going on here. And then the next verse, Jehovah says, oh, Sar, he turned in. Hey, look at that. Wow. And of course, then a very interesting portion beginning there in Exodus 3 of the Lord speaking to Moses through the burning bush. So he turned towards that burning bush, and also we see Elisha going down the valley and turning towards the house of the Shunammite, because she had built an upper room for him to rest when he came through the valley there. And so he turns towards that. We sometimes see it in very, very dramatic fashion, and that is there are two young men who believe that David would love to have Ishbaal done away with, so they sneak into his house during the time that Ishbaal is sleeping in the heat of the day, and they they turn off his head, boom, turn it away, boom, and rip it off and bring his head down to present to David. Now, of course, King David didn't like that. Had the two individuals rightly executed for what they were doing. Also see it with Jael and Sisera. Jael's or Sisera's tired and he's finding a place to rest and all this kind of stuff, and he comes down to Jael's tent, and Jael says 3 times in that verse, turn here, turn in here, turn in here, turn in here, rest, and you'll be fine. Of course, he wasn't fine. He got himself a tent peg in the head, but so turning in can be just something physical. If you look at it, many of the times that the word sar is used, just Samech resh, it's used quite often in the defining statements of the northern kings. When the northern king has lived out his reign, and been either replaced or killed or what have you. The narrator at that point lays down a short digest, a short report on what this person has done. And quite often it's lo sar, he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam. So sar there is used quite often in that. So it's pretty well standard explanation of what these one of their main sins was not to turn away, not to turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, the first Jeroboam who established the northern kingdom. So that was certainly condemning those for not doing that. So sar, turn away, turn, mehra, from evil. Okay, ra is, so we've seen this quite often. We've seen that Rashim, we've seen this is just evil, and also in a sense the evil ones, but ra. Okay, turn away from evil. Ve'aseh, and do good. Okay, aseh tov. All of these are imperatives. Sur, asa, and zachon. These are turn away from evil. In other words, there's evil in front of you, some kind of temptation, some kind of sin is being presented to you, and instead of going towards it, you turn away. You say, no, that's not for me. I'm going to find something different to do. I'm going to get away from this and turn towards. And it's very much the way Jesus has presented it. Before you are two paths. One is leads to perdition, the other one leads to salvation. So when you're heading down the path of perdition, turn away from that, and then turns toward the pathway that leads to the Lord. So sur mera, turn away from evil, and asa, to aseh, and do good. Okay. Incidentally, this is a nice holum, and this one here is a revia. Normally the revias are pumped up so that you can tell them, but this revia is a little bit weak-kneed. Of course, not as strong as it shouldn't. Hasn't been painted as strongly as it should, but it's still there. It's a revia. It makes sense to be a revia. I think we're also going to have a revia midrash. Yeah, here we go. That one and then that one. So anyway, so sur mera ve'asa tov ve'shochen, and then live, inhabit. The way to remember this verb, of course, is shekinah, the habitation of God, of Jehovah. Okay, shekinah, to live. It's interesting that I put in inhabit, although it's a little hard to fit. Most translations just say live, but it's to inhabit, to occupy a place that the Lord gives. And so, and occupy the place that the Lord gives you, le'olam, forever. This olam is very much parallel with the olam that begins the ayin section of the next acrostic part. So this is a little foretaste of what's coming down the pike here in the next section of the acrostic. So, and you live forever. It comes as an order, but hey, if the Lord orders us to live forever, I'll accept that order. And to make it happen, of course, be faithful, obedient to Jehovah, and then yes, he tells us, yeah, you have to live forever. Okay, well, we know the only way that's going to happen is if when the Lord makes it happen. So, shukhan, shechon. There's no dagish in here, so you're going to have to be careful and not making this a hard cough. It's a soft cough. It's like an aspirated H here. Shechon. And incidentally, there is a sense here of kafnun. Kafnun, of course, is yes, and so live, yes. So you have live. The first meaning of the verb very much is to live or inhabit, but then also you're going to have it. Yes, why? Because Jehovah is making it happen. So chen, live, and yes, that's going to happen. So same verb carries both meanings here. In shechon means to live, inhabit, and chen is yes, it's going to happen. So v'shechon leolam, and then Siluk Sof Pasuk, and then Ki, because Jehovah. And as I said, Revi Mugrash, we did say Revi here, but it's not attached to Mugrash. But here it is, Revia and Mugrash. And then we have Sineret, Jehovah Ohev, any sequence of a verb that carries an OA sound to it is a participle, and it means constant action, constant condition of doing this. So Ohev, Jehovah loves, and loving, it's something he constantly, it's part of his, what he is, okay? He's loving of justice, okay? Mishpat. So, and you might, there's the accent or the vowel pointing of the fat here is the comets, and you have a closed syllable right here, so that you got an extra letter sticking out here. What is it? It's a revia, and I'd say it's a revia mugrash because you can tie it up to one of these, this one or this one, to then make the disjunctive accenting coming, that's pointing us towards the siluk way out here. So he likes justice, he loves justice, he's constantly loving justice. Velo, and not. Yazav, this is abandon, very well known verb. Elieli lamach asavachtani, Lord, my God, do not abandon me. So azav, he does not abandon. Et, and this one here is direct object marker. Hasid chav, dav, hasidav, hasidav. Rafe right here to push us along over here. So hasidav, to his faithful ones, the ones who live with chesed, okay? There's a modern Jewish sect known as the Hasidim, that's based on this word, and I don't really like mentioning them because in many cases that's just a lot of legalism there, but it's not legalism, it's ones who are faithful, ones who are loving, the ones who have chesed. Chesed is caring for someone else, okay? The ones who love, the ones who care, his faithful ones, the ones who carry chesed in their lives. We see a senurit mupach here, and this is just it's what's known as a combined accent. This one and this one work together. In other words, if you have this one, you're gonna have to look for the other one. So and so just ohev, okay, and just puts the accenting right in the middle there, and then moves right on to mishpat. Mishpat, okay, justice. Shafat is the judge, and then when you put a mem in front of it, then that makes it a noun and substantive, and then you have mishpat, justice. Velo, yazav, does not abandon, hasidav. What we have here, the strength of this verb, or the strength of this particular section of the psalm drives from sur, okay? Where do you turn your life? Where are you pointing yourself? What's the direction of your life? We've seen over and over and over that derech is something very important. What derech are you pointing yourselves toward? Which way are you going? Are you turning like Moses, Sar, okay? Turn off and take a look at that burning bush and see what it's saying to you. We want to find a burning bush now. You have to look in the scripture for it. Or are you turning towards evil, like all of the kings of the north who would reign, would know all about the sins of Jeroboam, but not turn away from them? So very definitely two pathways in front of us. Which one are you going to take? The one that points you to the Lord, or the one that points you into the evil that this world is always presenting? And so it's very clear. Turn away from evil and do good. That's what the psalm is telling us to do, and that's what you really should be doing. That's what we all should be doing with our lives. So God bless and God strengthen you in this day.